Good morning and welcome to today's You Are the Magic podcast. This is our second episode in our series, and I'm so honored to talk to our guest today, Tracie-Lee. Hi, Tracie, how are you going?
Good morning, Kylie. How are you? I'm fantastic.
Oh, that's excellent. What a great morning it is up in Brisbane.
Oh, yeah, it was a nice fresh start for us this morning out walking the dog. Time it is so beautiful in the morning.
Isn't it great to get that kickstart in the morning just so you can be ready for the day and it just is so productive?
Oh, it is. I stepped out this morning. It was like, whoosh, I'm away. I'm
Yeah.
away.
Nice and fresh and ready to go. So, today we're going to be talking about exploring identities. Why I picked this topic to chat to you about is both you and I have been on our own journeys over the last few years. Been in corporate for a long time, working with executives and boards and senior managers and leading teams. And now we've stepped out. We've stepped out of corporate and we're on another journey. And so, this topic that I'm always so interested in talking about and exploring with people is how does your identity shift and change when your roles change? And I guess I talk about from a career aspect, but it's also from all the roles in your life. So, as a mother, as a daughter, as a aunt, as a wife, all of those sorts of things. So, I guess yes, we'll talk about careers, but this impacts so many areas of our lives. What are your thoughts around that?
You're absolutely spot on, Kylie. I think it's not until you step away from that machinery of an organization or government that you actually can look back and go, oh, wow, this is different.
Yes.
So you're right. We, as women, we really do, I think, put our identity in our workplace or our role rather than who we are. So as a mother, just constantly balancing juggling all the balls. And then it's frequently about, well, gosh, what are people thinking? Like, am I doing a good job? And then when you step away, hey, I'm the one that sets the frame. I'm the one that sets the path. I'm the one that sets the performance KPIs on me.
Right.
It's a really different frame, and it's actually really exciting
It,
when you can step away and you have
um,
that beauty of hindsight, looking to where you were and go, oh wow, that was really interesting.
it's quite refreshing, isn't it? And it's just in the beginning, it's like, oh my gosh, am I doing something wrong? What's going on? And then all of a sudden you think, oh, this is my new life. This is how I get to be. And it's actually so exciting. I'm incredibly excited about the journey that I'm on and also that you're on as to where we navigate to from here because we're just experimenting about what's next for us. And I think that's just super exciting.
It's like the shackles have come off. So when
Yeah.
you're working in an organization or in government or even with senior leaders, you have boundaries around your role or your ability to
Mm.
influence. When you step away, you smash those boundaries. They are gone. You get to put them in place and you get to create the life and work with people who light you up.
Yeah.
Removing those limitations it's something I'm so excited about. It's been so exciting and I'm just fabulous.
I think if we go back to our point earlier about what a great morning it is, you have no problems getting up out of bed because guess what? We're excited for the day and we're excited about who we're working with and what we're doing. Whereas when you're in that bit of a funk, it's like, oh, do I really have to get out of bed? And so your whole kind of demeanor and attitude and perspective really does change and shift.
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought about that, but you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Like the alarm still goes off, or I still wake up at 5 o'clock
Mhm.
and grab the chain. 3 layers this morning. I have 3 layers. Just like this down the street.
So let's reel it back a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and what that journey is that you're going on, just so our listeners can hear about what's happening in your space?
Yeah, thanks. So I am a corporate coach and mentor, focusing on really around executive and leadership. So I've spent a number of decades in senior roles in the private and public sector. So I'm one of those really unique individuals that has that senior leadership experience in both. And it's quite rare to find people. like that, because you see people that go, well, I know how government operates. I'm like, do you? Do you really know how government operates? It's
Yeah.
not until you get inside that machinery of government and have to navigate some of those really complex and rather large and time-consuming processes when you're like to access money or funding
Yes.
that you actually say, I do
Yeah.
understand it. So
Yeah.
I have such an interest in developing people. I love to see people push beyond the boundaries of what they actually think they're capable of. And I pride myself, I've always backed my people. Like, I am
Yeah.
here. I will give you space. I will give my team space. And if they fall, and sometimes they do, I'm absolutely always been there ready to pick them up and talk through where we're going and kind of push them forward again. So within the organizations, I found that I had a lot of restrictions on what I could and couldn't do. And to some extent, I think it's fair to say I found that a little frustrating, because when I was working with people, we had a plan and a strategy and what we needed to do. And the environment in which we were operating was really hampering a lot of our objectives and the path forward. So it just came pivotal for me that I wasn't being 100% fulfilled. I knew that I could give more. I knew that I wanted to work with people and really help them break through that glass ceiling, a lot of women that I work with. And this was the natural progression to work
Yeah.
beyond those, what I see
Yeah.
as artificial limitations.
I love that. I love that so much. And so much of what you say just is so close to my heart because I've been through a really similar experience. And once you actually see it, it's like you can't stop. You've actually got to take those steps forward and say, okay, how can I, first of all, break my own glass ceiling and get to that next level? And then how can I help others? Because it is so fulfilling and just I can't describe just the journey that I've been on. It's just no regrets, basically. And is it a roller coaster? Yes, but what a fun roller coaster that you go on. So you learn so much about yourself that you can just give to others as well and just share with others. I'm excited for you.
I'm really excited. It's
Yeah.
just putting that one step forward and not knowing where that path's going to take you, and actually being okay with that. And rather than looking at it and going, oh, I'm a bit nervous, I'm like, I'm actually really excited. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
keep stepping forward. And where it's taking me and the people I'm working with just lights me up.
Oh, that's fantastic. That just segues really nicely into a question that I'm, interested in asking. And it's about how we tie our self-worth to work. And especially when you're a high performer, you want to do a great job at work. And, it's important because it's important to you and it's important to how others see you. How have you navigated that in this transition from being full time in your corporate world to where you are now? When did it start? Like, tell us a little bit about what happened for you around that.
Look, you're absolutely correct. I spent such a long time, and I realized this in hindsight, where I was that silent achiever. I
Mm,
was that person that sat there and, to some extent, largely a perfectionist,
mm,
had exceptionally high standards on myself, like to the point
mhm.
that the leaders I was working with said, Trace, your standards are so, so high. And
Mm,
I was always like, yes, but I don't have high standards. I won't achieve them. And sometimes you do fall short, and that's
yeah,
okay. So what I was doing, I was that silent achiever. I was sitting there doing a good job, hoping that I'd impressed enough people that I would actually be noticed. And what there is always someone louder, someone more visible, and
yeah,
someone who may not be as capable in a lot of ways than you are. However,
yes,
because they're more visible, they get the promotion, they get noticed, and they
yeah,
go to meetings and they
yeah,
lose clients, and then the doors open for them. And I realized that I was so externally focused on what other people thought. Like, did I do a good job? Like, waiting for some great comments or feedback. When deep down, I knew that I did look, have always been great at what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't need those other people's approval for my work or my direction or
Yeah.
anything that I do in life. And for me, it was a trigger probably about 18 months ago as I was going through a divorce, where I realized that I spent most of my life giving my power away to everyone else. And I needed to take that power back, and I needed to look at my self-worth and find that internally. And when I realized that I didn't need everyone else's opinion on my work, it was just a natural progression for me then to take the step outside. So you're right. Lots of people sit there and they look at other people and they wait for an opinion. So I'm really excited to be able to work with people around taking that journey that I took as well.
This is gold. It's so powerful. The minute that you realize that everything comes from within, and that's what this whole podcast is about. You are the magic. It's all
Yeah.
in you. When the minute you realize that, the whole world opens up to you. Now that I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect and sunshine and roses and all of that. However, the possibilities become endless. And so it's like, okay, let's choose your own adventure. Let's go on an adventure and see what's out there, see what's possible. And that is so powerful. How does this fit in the corporate landscape though? I guess is my question. Because when you are in that corporate world, that's kind of not what you're supposed to think like. You're supposed to kind of stay in your box and away you go. Or do you see it a little bit different?
I see it a little bit different. I mean, we all know that culture is led from the top. So, and it's do what I do, not do what I say. I don't believe there is anything such as like a bad organization. It's about personal fit. And some people are happy to stay in their lane, and that comfort zone and that security is all they need or want in life. And that's great for them. I'm really happy for them. But then there's a whole lot of people who had all these hopes and dreams when they were teenagers or at school about what they wanted to achieve, and they had this vision. And this vision might have included the house, the kids, the car, the job, the title, and they've got all that. And what next? Like, where do
Yeah.
they go next? And is that really what they want? Is that deep down really what makes them happy? And sometimes it's not. And knowing that you've reached a position in an organization and it's time to move on or move sideways or even go out on your own, it's not failure. It's power.
Yeah.
It's saying, I've done a great job and I've loved working here and I love the people, but it's time for me to move on.
Yeah.
It's time for me to find something that lights me up. And some organizations will do that. Some organizations will happily support you to go, like, or people to go on secondment or take time, like take 12 months leave to pursue other personal opportunities. And that's fabulous. Like, that's the culture that breeds innovation and change and thought leadership and like those organizations are one I just love working with.
I 100% agree. Organizations that are led from the top who are just forward thinking, proactive, and actually really want to look after their people. And not just in a here's a high salary and those sorts of things, because obviously that's one driver for some people. But others are about that development and where's my career going? And I want to do something that I love. So if you can support me in that, that would be amazing. Even if it is for 6 months or 12 months or 18 months. Give me a different perspective and guess what? I might come back and be even greater than what I was before. Or I actually might choose to opt out. And you've given me a gift essentially. I'm going to recommend people to work with your company because you support it. So how organizations support people through these sort of transition journeys is there's so many different ways.
There is, and I think the challenge with organizations is you can have that very strong vision and leadership at the CEO level. But
Yeah.
when you drop down to the next couple of managerial or director levels, you often see a lot of fear because they are focused very much on themselves. They don't have a broader vision for the team, and they're focused on getting to the next level. So they actually focus on that self-interest rather than that organizational community interest. And that's where you and I come in, because it's about helping these people understand and work with them about what's possible and how they can work within the culture and still be fulfilled. And therefore, the whole organization is aligned with the culture and the leadership vision of the CEO.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. I absolutely love it because I think if you can create that great culture, your people will do amazing things for you. And that keep that culture authentic, reward people for being themselves. I think it's really, really important. But also think outside the square about how you can support people. It doesn't have to be the standard. And I think the more we can get senior leaders thinking that way, the world could really shift and change and move.
If you provide that environment, people are no longer afraid to put great ideas on the table. And even if that idea is a no, the way that it's handled is in a no. It's not a no. It's like, well, look, that's quite interesting. And I'm glad you've raised that. Probably not the right time, but I'd love to keep us talking about it and the possibilities. And when people work in that environment, they feel valued. They are. You and I both know that the sick days go down, productivity goes up,
Correct.
and the sense of involvement and the sense of team and sense of community increases. And that's good for everyone, particularly
Absolutely.
employees' mental health.
You've nailed it. And there's probably even more benefits that we even haven't mentioned. If you can move in that direction, I think more people want to work for you. Your employee value proposition just becomes outstanding. Let's take it back to us as individuals, particularly as we transition through our roles. And we all had titles. And there might be a lot of people out there that have a title of director or team leader or supervisor or whatever the title is. We get really attached to that title at times, and this is who we become. How do we kind of shake that off? Be okay with not having a title? And you and I were having this conversation just before about how do we introduce ourselves? Are we an executive coach, an executive mentor, a coach? Or there's so many words that are thrown about. Where are you landing on titles? And do you need one? Or do you have to have one? Or are you okay with just saying, well, I'm Tracie-Lee. This is who I am.
It's a really good question, because you're right. People do, because, a manager and then a director and then this. I've always said, I really don't like it is a joke. It's always been a joke within wherever I've worked. It doesn't bother me what you call me, but not late for lunch. Call me late for lunch, and I'm so. No, personally, I don't need a title. I've never needed a title. The value I get is from what I like, who I work with, what I do, and the results I achieve. For some people who've worked within the establishment for a really long period, those titles are, I'm a team leader, I'm not a principal policy officer, or and it really does affect how they feel that they are perceived by others. And I would love nothing more than to smash that out of the ballpark, because it's another indication of people looking external for external validation.
Yeah.
And it's not even on who they are or what they do. It's on a artificial word that could change because of like an organizational structure. Well, we're not going to call them principals anymore. We're going to call them managers because it sounds better. And so the title it's a really interesting thing. And I'd be interested to see your views, because as you know, the title for me is like, I'm not into titles in any way.
When I was in my corporate career, we had a title of director, HR, or whatever the team is that you worked for. And it was just the norm. It was just the norm. when I left the public service, I actually didn't know what to call myself. So I think I landed just on I'm an executive coach. Did I live it? Did I breathe it? Probably not, because I was also looking for that freedom that I didn't have to have a title. I could just be Kylie. And there was so much freedom in that. However, what that kind of was I went through a period of actually, I don't know who I am. And it wasn't necessarily about the title, it was actually about my identity. But when you have a title, you've got an identity. It's kind of made, it's created for you. But then at the same time, you don't really have, like, you don't have to have that. So I guess when I started my business, it was like, well, what am I? Am I a business owner? Am I an entrepreneur? And I just got really confused. And now I've actually just landed on, well, I'm Kylie. This is who I am and this is what I do. And yes, I have a title, but to be honest, that's not what I focus on.
Mm.
So it's coming back to what you were saying before. It's about looking inside and how do you feel about what you are and who you are and what you're doing, rather than a name or a title on a piece of paper or on your website or whatever that might be. So, or how someone else introduces you, so that's kind of where I've sort of landed on this type of thing.
That's really good insight, and that's really useful, because at the moment I am kind of juggling this, going through the same process about, well, what do I call myself? So while I've coached, I have a whole nother skill set around my strategic advisory. And I love solving problems. Ask anyone, oh, give me a problem and I will solve it. And if I can't solve it, I will find the people to solve it. So I'm like, am I a coach? Am I a consultant? You're exactly right. It's the relationships you build, it's the people you work with, and it's actually the impact that you make.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we have such similar backgrounds that I can see where you're at. As and I'm probably still going through that as well. Do I call myself a HR consultant, a coach, those sorts of things? You know what? I'm all of that. And at the end of the day, if you work with me, you get all of that.
Yeah.
So that's actually really cool. So does it matter? Yeah. I don't know. On another note, I was talking to a lady this morning and she asked me a question around how you dress. And not you, just how you dress. So as you transition, whether it be from corporate into your business, whether it be from when you get promoted, particularly if you go, say, from a junior employee into that senior, it's a bit of a bigger change. How you dress and present yourself and how you show up, how does that matter? And I guess this is the question that she asked me. And for me, it was like, well, you absolutely do go on a journey with everything, not just titles, but absolutely what you end up wearing, how you present yourself, how you speak. Like, there's so much involved in all of this, but you don't really know that that's what's kind of happening. You're just kind of moving through it. Where are you? Like, how's this kind of sitting in your world at the moment?
This is something that is so close to my heart. I love this topic, and thank you
Yeah.
for bringing it up. So the way I view the world is very visual. So
Yeah.
I went to buy a new car and I looked at about 8 different types, and I wouldn't even get in it because I didn't like how. So for me, the internal change and the external change went together. So I used to just, I look back now and I go, how did I dress? Wow. It was very uncomfortable when I look in hindsight about how I used to dress.
Yeah.
I look at it and go, oh, that's a bit uncomfortable. It wasn't a natural flow. I didn't feel comfortable in what I was wearing or how I wore it. And that change, as I said, started about 18 months ago, 18 months to 2 years ago, where I said, well, I'm changing on the inside, but I can't see it. I
Yeah.
can't see that change.
Yeah.
And I know it's happening, but I need something that I need to be able to see it, and I need to see progress. So when I run,
Yeah.
I need to see faster times or more distances. So I like that visual element. And then I just started to dress. I wanted to dress like me. I wanted to be me, not someone in a store or what someone else told me. So then I learned what body shape I had and then what colors look good on me. And I didn't do color analysis because there are some issues there around being able to match it to what's in the store. And then I started to go, well, what do I want to look like? I want to still be corporate, but I want to be a bit edgy. I like being edgy, and I like being a little bit different. And so then I just started in corporate in government when I was, and I just started wearing like, the blazer with the cuffs up. And then I had nice suit pants, and I matched them with like Adidas sneakers.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was quite funny. Like when people were looking for me, what they were saying was, just go up there. She's the really nice dressed one. And I got that all the time. That was the feedback I got. I didn't go out to impress people. I wanted to look good, to feel comfortable, to know my identity and who I was. And so that I've transitioned that out. That
Yeah.
transition process is complete. Do spend far too much money on clothes these days. But anyway, we'll just put that to the back. So I really know, like, it's so
Yeah.
important in the change process. So some people will
I
do it
agree.
when they make the change, like when they go, oh, well, look, I want to go and do this now, and I want to look different. I started that, and I feel like I've got a real sense in how I present myself, and if I feel and look good, I've got the confidence to boot.
I agree. I think for me, I think in the last 3 years, I've been through a few different sort of transitions around, "Oh, do I just wear a suit? Do I wear, a denim jacket and sneakers?" Like, where am I sort of landing on all of this? And at the end of the day, it's you just need to be comfortable and professional. And actually, for me, it's about how I feel.
Mm.
So I know for you, it's about what you look like and how, like as in you need to see it. For me, it's about how I feel. So if I've got something, a jacket on or a dress or something and the texture's really great, that feels awesome to me. But also if it's tight and clingy, again, it doesn't feel quite right. So it's really getting that feel, and that's different for every single person. It is again comes back to how do you want to be, whether it be how do you want to be and feel and look. It all comes back to you, not everybody else, and not the expectations of everybody else.
Yeah, and I think when you look or feel good in what you're wearing, you are so much more present and engaged with
Yeah.
your clients and in relationships, and whether it's just lunch with your mom or friends, like rather than sitting there, just because someone you think that's great. It's great that we can be who we want to be.
So I have a couple of questions for you that I didn't give you beforehand, but I'm pretty sure you're going to know the answer. So, because it's all about you. I want to know what is one significant moment in your life that's been a complete game changer in you being able to be you right now? I mean, we've talked about a few, you've sort of mentioned a few over the course of the session, but yeah, what's your significant moment that just kind of went, this is it for me. Things have to change and it could be good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter.
Yeah, look, it certainly was the separation from my ex-husband. I mean, that was October 2022.
Yeah.
I had got to a point where there was nothing left of me. I was balancing a full-time job. I had a child that was 6 at the time. I was doing all the housework, the gardening, running around, and I just got to a point where I could not go on. And I think there's a lot of people that are in that situation, and they have the mask up, and it's all good and everything's under control until it's not. So that was, look, in hindsight, that was really one of the most challenging periods of my life. I mean, I've had a few. My daughter, God bless her, she was born through embryo donation because I had some significant illness, and that took us 6 years, and that was a challenge. This was a whole new level where, without going into the details, I was pushed to the wall, and at times I felt that there was no way out. But I just kept putting that one step in front of the other. And from someone that always had to do everything themselves and had to put up appearances that everything was okay, putting that hand up and asking for help, saying, I can't do this, was absolutely a game changer in my life. And knowing that there are so many people out there who are willing to help you.
Yeah.
If you just put your hand out or hand up and say, hey, I need help. And the amount of people that rallied around me, also the people that didn't, and you know, that's a decision, but you really find out who's there for you. And they love you no matter what. And you realize that you don't have to put this mask up anymore because they love you for you, not for what what you think they're seeing. And yeah, that was absolutely pivotal.
I love that. Sometimes things have to happen that are not so great
Mm.
and they lead to incredible things. I don't know. I always believe that things happen for a reason.
Oh, they
Um,
absolutely do. And look, if I wasn't put on that trajectory, I wouldn't have met you.
yeah, so true. How lucky are you? I completely agree. The things that I've done when you step outside your comfort zone just can lead to like awesome stuff because the people that I've met, the things that I've done, I would never have done that 10 years ago.
No,
You know,
no.
I was sitting in that corporate job, like I guess scared to live life.
Mm,
And now I think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I stayed so long being scared. And am I scared now? Yes, that doesn't change. However, I know and I've got the belief inside to take that step to go, well, yep, I might be scared, but I'm going to give it a go because guess what? The whole world probably won't fall down if I do that. So it's a different kind of scared feeling. It's probably more excited scared rather than fear scared, if
yeah,
that
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and
And
it's just
I
yeah,
did that too. Like I just got to a point where I was going to have fun in the
yeah,
workplace. And that rather than being worried and fearful, I was just like, hey, I'm going to be me and I'm going to have fun. The energy change within the
yeah,
team. I was always laughing and like we were joking amongst us. That energy change just
yeah,
magnifies through.
absolutely. You just hit the nail on the head with the topic that we're talking about around that. Who are we without our role? Well, we can be fun. We can be adventurous. We can be excitable. Do you know what I mean? Like we can be whoever we want to be. We just need to take that step.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Yay. So one more question is, what advice would you give to others? I know you've talked about asking for help and those sorts of things, but is there one thing that you could say, this is my advice based on my journey to be able to take that step? What's that one thing?
Around 3 years ago, before I started the change, like started the process, my my boss in government, a phenomenal leader, phenomenal lady, turned around to me and she said, I don't understand why you don't back yourself when I back you. And that stayed with me for a really long time.
Yeah.
And those words to this day are still exceptionally powerful because most people don't back themselves, but they have this community around them that do.
Yeah.
So what are they seeing that you're not seeing? And why is their view of you so different to yours? And for me, that is it. That is everyone around you backs you and they've got your back. So why don't you have yours?
And I guess there's that thing is, can you borrow the belief until you get there?
Mm,
Because the more you, I guess, get on that journey, it's just going to come naturally for you and you are going to see things that you didn't see before and your belief will just grow bigger and bigger and bigger and all of a sudden you just believe.
yeah, you do.
You
You
just
go, wow,
believe.
look what I can achieve. And I don't need anyone else's approval or support.
Yeah.
I've got the power and the motivation and the commitment. And oh,
Yeah.
look, I'm all the way over here. Or
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look, I couldn't agree anymore. I think 14 years ago, I had my first coach, and she said to me, you could run your own business, Kylie. And I was like, no, 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 no way. And she was right. That's exactly the direction that I headed in. And she just planted a seed, and away I went. I didn't even know that I was going on that journey, and I didn't even know the seed had been planted.
Oh, wow.
That was 14 years ago, and here I am now. It's amazing the people around you and what they can see, you know, how they can see you differently. You need to kind of listen and be present a little bit more rather than just constantly criticizing yourself all the time, because we can be really great at that. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, they're just stories, aren't they? They're just stories. And are they actually real? Are those stories real?
Some may say yes, some may say no.
That's it. That's
But even
it.
if they are, they're at a very small point in time.
Yeah.
My daughter she runs athletics, and last season she couldn't run 800, and 2 weeks ago she represented school in cross country and ran two. So maybe she
Mm.
could run the 800 at that point in time. But we acknowledge those thoughts and then let them pass, because there's something else right behind it.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And stories can change. You've got the power to change your story, just like you've got the power to change your identity if that's what you want to do, and the power to change who you want to be in life and stop worrying about all those external influences. And I guess this is the biggest thing that I've got out of our conversation is continuing to believe in yourself and not worry about what everyone else thinks, whether you're coming from a corporate world or you run your own business. Who do you want to be, and just believe in yourself.
It's so important.
Is there anything for our listeners? Is there any final words of wisdom that you wanted to share that we kind of haven't touched on today that would be really valuable?
Yeah, I think a good friend of ours says this, and that is rejection is easier to live with than regret.
Yes,
And you've heard it. You heard it not
yes,
to, well, a couple of weeks ago when we were together. And I think that's really, really powerful. And
yeah.
it's just so relevant.
And it just give things a go. You just never know where they can take you. And yes, there might be rejection in there. One day it'll just be acceptance and away you go. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
And you
it's
mightn't be
so
that way. You
powerful.
might be going that way eventually,
Yeah, yeah,
but maybe that's where you're meant to be. And maybe you needed to take that step to understand that you need to be over here. And that's all part
yeah,
of the journey.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, where can people find you? Do you want to share Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Are you on LinkedIn? Tell us a little bit about where people can find you.
Yeah, so my Instagram handle it's TracieLee. So there's no hyphen in it.
Yeah.
Underscore Waldock, and that's my Instagram. And then I have my TracieLee Consulting and Coaching page on Facebook. And my website is under development at the moment. So that's something that's an exciting
Oh, that's
process
exciting.
at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we'll include those in the show notes so everyone can find you really easily. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on, because I love what you're doing, where you're going, what's happening. I love your personality, the fun you're bringing to everything. I just really enjoy our chats. I think every time we talk, it's about something different and random, but we always end up laughing, and then we have serious moments, and it's got it all. And that's what I love. I love those deep conversations. So thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom and your experiences with us all.
Oh, thank you for having me. I've loved the chat this morning. I love catching up, like your wisdom and your experience, and I love listening, as you said, those deep conversations that we have, and then we always we look at something and it just makes us laugh. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I am so looking forward to watching your journey and listening and seeing where the next kind of 6 months takes you. I think
Yeah.
it's super exciting for you.
Absolutely. I'm open to it all, which is incredible. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to listen to us today. And you are the magic. You've got everything inside of you. I'm Kylie from Kylie James Coaching. Thank you again to Tracie-Lee, and we will see you next time on You Are the Magic. Take care.